Hello, my name is Christian, and today I'll be doing a movie review and a recap of The Forest. This movie came out in 2016 and it runs at an hour and 33 minutes. This movie was directed by Jason Zada. This is the only movie he ever did. Now, this one starts off with a girl named Sarah, played by Natalie Dormer. She is having nightmares and she finds out that her sister is in the suicide forest, better known as Aokigahara Forest. Now, this forest is famous in Japan for people killing themselves in there, probably about 105 every year, maybe even more. So she flies to Japan to find out what has happened to her sister Jess. They are twin sisters, and she says that they share this kind of twin type telepathy that she knows whenever she is in trouble or is hurt or anything like that. Now she gets to Japan and she goes to the hotel, and the owner of the hotel, or the not the hotel but the train station, tells her that she has found Jess. So they go down to the basement and then she finds out that it is not actually her. So she goes to the hotel and she meets a guy named Aiden, played by Taylor Kinney, and they hit it off kinda. They have a few drinks, and Sarah tells the story of her parents, which she tells him that they died in a car accident, but actually her dad shot her mom and then shot himself. So after that, they go into the forest with a guide named Michi, played by Yukiyoshi Azawa. Now they go into the forest and they are looking around for Jess. Uh, Pretty much for the next 20 minutes, it's them just walking around the forest. There's some cool shots of the forest, and they eventually find Jess's tent. So Sarah decides to stay behind and wait for her, but Michi doesn't want that because he knows what happens at night. The Yuri, or the ghost, come out, but Aiden decides to stay behind with her. They talk a little bit more, and then Sarah goes to sleep. And Sarah wakes up. Aiden's still asleep, and she's hearing noises in the forest. So she goes out and finds a Japanese schoolgirl, and she believes everything that Japanese schoolgirl says. I mean, if I saw a schoolgirl in the forest and she was telling me all this stuff like don't trust him and all that stuff, I really wouldn't believe anything that she said. But Sarah believes every word, and throughout the movie, the locals and the guide Michi are telling her, don't step off the path, don't listen to the Yuri or anything like that, because they will trick you into believing what they want you to believe. But Sarah just disregards it and just keeps on keeping on and just listening to anybody and everybody she sees in the forest. So after that, she runs after the schoolgirl, trips, falls. Aiden finds her. Now Aiden wants to try to go back without Michi to get back to the town, but Sarah doesn't really trust him at this point because of the schoolgirl, and she asks for his phone, and there's a picture of Jess on there, but really isn't there. It's just the forest trying to trick her, but she believes it and she runs away, and she is running away from the Yuri at this point, and then she falls in a hole, and the schoolgirl is there of all people, and Sarah decides to follow her again, and it turns out it's a Yuri, like everybody else thought it was, and she runs away from the schoolgirl, and Aiden shows up, grabs a rope, and gets her out of the hole. But before that, she finds a camera down there in the hole, and she just doesn't think anything of it, picks up the camera and just starts going through it, and it's the time that her parents died, and she just keeps clicking, and then there's a jump scare where the dad jumps out of the camera and scares her, and then after she gets out of the hole, they go to a ranger station where Aiden is thinking that there is a way to get out through the radio. So they go there, and Sarah is passing notes with somebody under the door of the ranger station, and she thinks it's Jess, but it's actually not. And the notes are saying that Aiden is a bad guy, which honestly I feel sorry for Aiden in this movie. He just does not get a break. Sarah just thinks he's a psychopath, which he actually isn't. He's just trying to help, and he's getting frustrated with her throughout this time, saying you should trust me, but she just doesn't trust her. She trusts the Forest more than Aiden. So she eventually kills him, and after that there's a scene where she thinks she sees her dad, but it's not actually there, and then she runs away, and Jess finally pops up in the movie, and I don't know what Jess was doing all this time. I guess he was just chilling, running around the forest for 5 days straight. I don't understand, but Jess finally shows up, and Jess is running out of the forest because Rob, I haven't talked much about him. Rob is played by Ian Mackin, and that is supposed to be Sarah's boyfriend, husband. They don't really explain that, but he shows up, and they were searching for Sarah for a little bit with Michi, and Jess finds him, and she runs into his arms, and Sarah is running after Jess at this point, and it actually turns out that Sarah cut herself in the ranger station because the Forest finally got to her, and she is dead now. So she is dead, and she becomes one of the Yuri, and at the end of the movie she jumps out at Michi and I guess kills him, and that is how the movie ends. I enjoy this movie probably more than a lot of people. I enjoy the atmosphere that it brings with the Forest as pretty much a place, just a place, kind of like a set. Like the Forest is the set, and I really enjoy that in the movie. I like the scenes where they show off the forest a little bit more because it is a beautiful forest. It just has a dark past where elders would be taken to die because the people, their family, could not feed them, and that is how the forest got its name. But now it's just known as the Suicide Forest, where people just go because they can't take it anymore and they just want to end it. And the forest is in front of Mount Fuji. Is just a beautiful place, but it just has a dark past. Now, I probably would give this movie about a 7 out of 10. I enjoy it probably more than a lot of people. I feel like it brings a lot, like with there's scenes where Sarah's having nightmares, and there's like creepy ghost in there with a bunch of jump scares, and then you got the scene with the old woman in the hotel with the lights going on and off. I thought that was a really cool scene. I feel like it has some good in it, but the story is a little not well written, but it is still a good movie to me. Now that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and check out my other videos if you enjoyed this one. Have a great day.